are Tyrians. We are many races, several professions. We practice the arts of combat as well as healing. We have foes, and we fight them without mercy. And it's time for us to claim back what is ours. It's time for us to claim bacteria from the terror of the elder dragons. We can't go on living our lives in fear. We have to fight. We have to make a stand. This is our story.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 37 of the Chronicles of CoTPodcast, Guild Wars 2 podcast for fans by fans. Lagwyn here, and my other two hosts are super excited to do this one. Kaysee and Naveen. We're going to be talking about the living story, Flame and Frost, Gathering Storm, all the new content, because we did not want to research to do anything else. So.
I think I'm to blame in this though because I didn't ask you guys anything like, oh, what were we gonna talk about this week? Because all I was thinking about was my couch.
I totally did not send you an email 3 days ago asking you what we were going to do today. Like which map we were going to pick, which Norn map to talk about.
Are you serious?
Yeah, no, I sent you an email and said like, hey, I know it's supposed to be a pick a map show. Which map are we doing? And then I was like, you know what we should do is just talk about the living story update because that way nobody has to do any research.
I'm so sorry, like I did not get that email.
That's fine. No, it's fine. It worked out because this is what I was going to suggest anyway.
Or perhaps I got it, but it got lost in translation. I don't know. Sorry.
French to English. Confusing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, don't worry about it. It's all good. So anyway, everyone, thank you for coming out, checking out Chronicles of Tyria. Those of you that participated in our contest, thank you very much for doing that. If you haven't seen the contest entries, they are up on our Facebook page, our YouTube page, on chroniclesoftyria.com. Naveen's having some difficulties with her mic, but mostly she's just sick.
Cool.
Now she's good.
I'm cool.
All right. Oh, there we go. So again, thank you for people that participated. Thank you for all the new views and likes we received. I think we jumped up over 20,000 views on YouTube last I checked.
Yay!
We're at over 1,000 still, going strong. I think 1,100 members on the forums, about 130 members in the guild. So just thank you, everyone, for supporting us in, making us feel good about what we do, rather than we're just doing this for the same 5 people to listen to every day, every Thursday. But you understand my point.
I just want to point out though that last month, this month, it's the last day of February today. For the month of February, we passed more than 3,300 listeners. So downloads basically. So thank you everyone for listening to the show and supporting us. I would love if you would go to iTunes and rate our show. I know 2 more people did. They didn't leave a review, but they rated the show 5 stars. So we have 5 ratings of 5 stars. Thank you.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
So again, just thank you to everyone. So I guess we'll just kind of jump right into this. And we'll go into our shout-outs for the week. I'll start. I want to shout out once again to Dolphy from Dolphy.net for having ridiculously fast coverage of guild missions, which,
I know, she's crazy.
It's insane because it takes 30,000 influence and 80 hours to even have one up, or I think 300 influence, which it roughly equates to 600 gold, and she already has coverage of those.
Wow.
I mean, I know some's from other people that have submitted to her, but guild bounties look amazing. We have a full breakdown of how guild merits and that whole system works. So, be on the lookout for when Chronicles of Tyria starts generating guild missions. But you have to keep up to date on our Facebook and our forums because we're kind of trying to figure that out when we're going to do that. So again, also thank you, Dolphy, for all the other coverage of everything that's happened, where to find the memento type things and all that, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, by the way,
Yeah.
Dolphy, if you're listening to this podcast, please check your emails. That is all.
Okay. If I see her again in World versus World, not stalking, like not at all, I will definitely be like, check your email from Chronicles of Tyria. Um, I also would like to shout out to my good friend Jen, who is Jenny Sasha in the chat over here in Twitch TV. Good friend of mine, also an excellent, amazing masseuse who decided after the last time that I got a massage that she was like, this game sounds amazing. Please tell me everything about it. So talk about the best cup of coffee I ever had. Sit there to talk about Guild Wars and the podcast. Like,
Yeah. Know
so
where it's at. It's in here.
yeah, yeah. So she showed up. So thank you for that. Um,
Hello, Jenny.
yeah. So Kaysee, how about you? Any shout outs? Because I know you've been playing so much this week.
I know. No, I don't have any shout outs this week. If I've forgotten something, I'm really sorry. If you sent me something and I forgot to shout out, I'll do it next week. I'm just so spaced out today, so yeah.
Well then. Oops, sorry. I kicked my mic.
I'm going to shout out to Joel and R because Kaysee missed that in the chat. So Joel, this is a shout to you. Just steal it from Kaysee. Naveen, how about you? Any shout outs?
Yeah, I do.
All right, let's hear them.
Well, there was the 2 people on iTunes that, gave us the 5 stars rating. The only problem is I don't know who those people are, so thank you. You probably know who you are. There was well, I keep kicking my mic, dude. It's in the way.
It's going to be a good show, people. Start drinking now. If you're playing your tea drinking game, drink.
Also, I'd like to apologize. I have a very bad cold, so yeah. I want to shout out to Kifter Frost Falcon, who I was in Queensdale just doing my dailies and stuff, and he stopped and say, "Hey, you're Naveen from Chronicles of Tyria," and I'm like, "Yes." So he's like, "Oh, nice podcast, and keep up the good work." And then he's like, "Do you know where that dude went? Because I'm looking for him, and he's doing that event thing." And I'm like, "I have absolutely no idea of which NPC you're talking about. So, have a good day." But he's from the guild, the Silver Falcon. Tag SFAL. So it was nice meeting you, and thanks for listening. Thanks for supporting the podcast. And last but not least, I would like to give a shout out to the 2 winners of our contest that we had hosted for the Guild Wars 2 signed collector's edition, signed by RenaNet. The winner who won this was Jessie Lou for her video, and it was very well made. She'd used NPCs in her videos too. Her background story was amazing. So congrats to you. It's shipped already, so I don't know when it's gonna get there, but yeah. Second winner, because we had 2 prizes. The other one was the limited edition of the game guide. Excuse me, that came out when the game came out. And this one goes to Valane from 404. She sells seashells by the seashore. Yeah. No. 404 Games Not Found. It's a YouTube channel. They have a Facebook page too, and you should definitely look at their videos because they're amazing. If you're a fan of DayZ, I would go there and watch. Basically, it's Valane from that. His character was Brelan Balderon, and he had the most amazing voice ever. Oh, sorry. So, yeah, he won, and congratulations. Cost me over $100 shipping. I swear I should bill ArenaNet just for those things. You're
A
welcome.
couple of things I just want to point out. Naveen Zenshu threw up Dolphy's Twitter. He said maybe she'll be more responsive to her Twitter
Oh.
feed if you say, hey, check your email. So might not be a bad choice.
Oh, thank you.
And Joel wants to shout out, and I'll agree with Joel on this one, even though I haven't got a chance to watch it yet. There's a shout out to Naveen for starting an awesome new YouTube series.
Oh yeah, that's true. Thank you, Joel. Oh, she's awesome. And also, I'd like to point out that in my second video on that, if you want to check it out, it's just youtube.com/Val loses it. What is it? It's everything.
Her mind.
My
Yeah.
mind.
That's every podcast. You just watch this instead.
Yeah, because I'm mentally unstable.
We know.
Look at that.
But Kaysee is in my second video, her voice, not her face, unfortunately, or else I'd have way too many subscribers. So, oh, thank you for linking it, Joel, in the chat room. Yeah, she does the interviewer, the mean interviewer, and she will be doing that role every single episode that I create. So look forward for that. And I try to make it funny. I think it was funny, the last video. If you haven't
It was
seen all the
hilarious.
Cheerios fall out of my mouth, if you want to see that, go see a video.
And my favorite bit was when you were standing in front of the cupboard, and I'm like, I so do that. So yeah, I'm not going to say it because you have to go and check out the video for yourself.
Yeah.
And Chronicles of Tyria is not responsible for any fear of not eating on our behalf due to Casey's scary voice. And on to the news.
Yay!
So, as most of you are aware, I'm sure, this past Tuesday, ArenaNet dropped the second out of the 4 of the Flame and Frost series of updates. A lot of stuff came with this, and we got even more news since then about future updates. So I guess one of the things we'll start with before we discuss the actual Flame and Frost content is, I think it was with MMORPG.com, Habib Lowe, who's one of the World vs. World guys. He put out, they interviewed him, and they talked a lot about what can we expect coming up in the future for. I'm trying to get the link to load. That's why I'm stuttering as I talk here.
So how's the
What
weather?
was? Yeah, well, it's not snowing. Not like Canada. Anyway, he talked a lot about what's coming up in the March patch, because if you remember originally, the big February World versus World patch got pushed to March. The big thing they're saying is a lot of reduction in culling, more so than usual. They already put in that the previous kind of small patch that uses regular generic resources to load the characters, and the big update to help decrease culling, possibly forever, but I wouldn't quote me on that, is coming in March. They're also talked a lot about the upcoming progression in World vs. World, where there's going to be new ranks in World vs. World and new abilities and things you can unlock in World vs. World, and this is going to be kind of part of the some of the end game stuff. Like, so you have progression past 80, assuming you like open world PvP. Let me see what they said. Oh, they're adding this thing. It's called World XP right now. So you get experience in World vs. World for doing World vs. World events as well as killing other players. So it'll take your Invader title that you got, and you can get in World vs. World, and give you multiple titles that are, I think, actually viewable. Bless you.
Sorry.
By other players, so they can see how well you're doing. And they're going to give you in-game, you can earn points to cash in for World vs. World abilities. And at the beginning, they're going to be passive abilities. And from what they're saying, it's going to be things like carrying more supply, being more effective against a certain type of NPC, whether that be doors, whether that be guards, Doliacs, whatever. Do more damage when you wield siege weapon, take less damage from siege weapon. It's pretty cool things. And in the future, they're going to do active bonuses, and they talked about possibly doing things tied to your profession and things like that, down the road. But they're going to look into adding more stuff as far as notifying for claiming claiming things for your guild, so that it actually means something. Because right now that doesn't really do anything. And I think that's pretty much the gist of this most recent article. So some cool stuff coming in March, and they made a point to say this is not our last World versus World update. There will be new stuff in the future, but this is one of many updates to fix World versus World.
Ah,
So at least they're doing something.
yeah.
Um,
Unimpressed
Alright.
Naveen is unimpressed.
seriously,
Well,
this is
World versus World, like, I couldn't even care less. So I heard half of what you said, but I'm pretty sure like 2,000 people are gonna hear, so
okay.
it doesn't count for me.
So there were some more updates to World versus World in this most recent patch that we will talk about when we talk about what came out.
Talk about.
Talk
Let's
about.
give them something to talk about. Yes.
So, PvP changes. Again, as most of you know, and I'll openly admit, PvP is an area of the game that I haven't
Sucks.
even. Oh, whoa. Sick Naveen, it may be sick. But
Okay.
let's try to keep it objective, at least for the news piece.
Yes. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right. We're still in the news. I'll get a triple soothing action Hall's cough drop, and I'll shut up for the next 2 seconds.
Chronicles of Tyria is not sponsored by Hall's Medication. LLS. That's what we saw, upside down.
I'm sorry.
So, again, like I said, PvP is an area that I'm not really familiar with, so I don't pretend to be knowledgeable about it. And that's just because I haven't gotten around to it, honestly. But they replaced tournaments. Paid tournaments have now been replaced by free tournaments. So that's pretty cool. 1 round free tournaments, 3 round free tournaments. So you guys, if you're fans of PvP, I don't know how you feel about that, because I believe the paid tournaments would get you, what's it called? The paid tournaments, you could win gems, I believe, if I remember correctly. So that's
I think if
gone.
you got first place, you could get 180 gems.
So it's not really worth it. Kind of cancels out the price of buying the tournament tickets in the first place. But you can turn in your tournament tickets. There's an NPC, since those are no longer needed. You can trade those in for tournament reward chests to an NPC in the Heart of the Mists. So that's pretty cool. So,
Oh, cool.
I would check that out. What else do we have news-wise? There was literally half an hour before the show started. And Kaysee, I'm going to kind of let you run this piece because I did not get a chance to read it. There was an update, or if anybody in the chat can also help us out, an update about the evolution of the living story.
So, like, in this article that just came out just before the start of the show, Angel McCoy does the Living Story article, and I think the general gist of it is I think he's trying to reassure people that there's more coming, because a lot of people feel like we're still in the prelude and that it's just going so slow, and I feel like after reading this article I feel a bit more reassured that there is actually something coming. So basically it just talks about the content that they're going to be delivering at the end of March, and the personal stories and unfolding simultaneously with living story. And then, so I think that there's going to be living story, and it goes, how can characters be in both the same place at the same time? So basically there's going to be a few things going through here, and it looks like living story and personal story are both going to be updated. And one interesting thing that was mentioned in the article is that in the February release will be advancing storyline, but you'll be you'll become actual defenders of homesteads and ranches in the Wayfarer Foothills and Decisa Plateau. But one thing I really, really liked, is I'm trying to find it here, is that the reward that they're giving you is not so much. There, of course, there'll be in-game rewards, but there's also a reward that they want to work on, is making you feel invested in the storyline characters, and also they're putting a lot of effort into the villains. And one quote is, we'll also be surprising with interesting villains, one of whom will be your personal nemesis. So I think that comes into the personal story aspect.
Personal story
Um,
updates? Personal story
um,
updates?
Well, I
it
don't not.
seems like it.
I
Well,
don't know.
how would you choose your personal nemesis?
Well, it's because you know how they excuse me. You know how they mentioned that they would bring back Traherne. So you know that we're gonna have
Hmm.
a continuation of our personal story stuff. So maybe
Mm.
that nemesis will stay there for now, and then become in the next expansion, which people say is gonna happen really soon. Lagwyn
I
shaking
don't.
his head no, but hey, I've said things in the past. You know, I've
I
said
know
things.
you. Yeah, but I can't. Don't turn into Naveen the jerk again. I'm not gonna deal with this. Of
I'm not Naveen the jerk. Oh, also, yeah, Zenshu makes a good point in the chat. It's Angel McCoy is a she. She
Oh,
actually speaks
sorry.
French. Yeah.
thank you,
Sorry, Angel.
Kasenchu. I actually found the line that Kaysee was reading, so I'll read it. You guys take away with it, from it what you will.
Okay.
Aside from the living story, main characters will also be surprising you with interesting villains, one of whom will be your personal nemesis. Again, no spoilers allowed, so I can't tell you more than that. But you'll recognize this sassy character when you see him/her/it.
Oh, come on. They're not even revealing a sex.
Um,
It.
I just have to clarify something
Mm.
about the personal story. That one of the lines was they with I think they were trying to say that people under level 80 they're doing personal story and living story at the same time, and they don't want to create a paradox. A paradox. So
yeah.
I don't think it'll be if there's anything. I think it'll be maybe instanced areas, but I don't think it'll be personal story.
Mm.
Yeah.
So that's a pity.
You get experience taking
Sorry.
setters rather than just helping volunteers. I think
Mm.
I think my thoughts are, at least in this, is if they're saying you'll actually get to choose your personal nemesis. I didn't read that in what I read, but my assumption would be it's either going to be a Flame Legion or a Dredge, because that's what this seems to be about. So maybe if you focus more in the Wayfarer Foothills, it'll be more Dredge, and if you focus more in the
Um,
Plateau, it'll be Flame. I don't know. That's all
mm.
speculation because I didn't see that. Also, I'd like to point out, Naveen, did you see who just joined the chat?
Eduardo from Mexico.
All right,
Hello.
just had to
Hola.
get that out there.
¿Qué tal?
Um,
Um,
what were you
Another point that they were making is the importance of like just talking to characters instead of giving you all the information on a silver dish. They're kind of encouraging us to go and talk to people, and that it won't be voice dialogue that you will get the cues onto what to do next. So it won't be like blatant in your face voice dialogue. It will be, you have to go and talk to people and pay attention to the text, which I think is rewarding to lore players, characters, players who like lore. So I think that's a lot more rewarding than actually having everything in your face. But unfortunately, it does mean that there'll be tons of people in map chat going, "Where do I go next? I don't know what to do.
There's
Someone
plenty of
tell
that.
me."
There's plenty of that.
Yeah.
Um,
I've been guilty of doing that in guild chat this week because I don't know like how many hours I've played, but it has to be less than 5, honestly. So, and I've been like, wait, and today I logged in for like half an hour, and I didn't play because, I had all these things to check out and stuff, but then when I logged on, the most amazing thing happened, guys. I got a letter from Logan Thackeray.
oh, Casey, when we're talking about that, did you want to reveal to Naveen what you found when we were running around yesterday,
Uh-oh.
killing
Oh.
dragons?
I found, I've sold it now, so sorry, Naveen, but
Ah,
I
wow.
found Rurik's Greaves, which is basically his shoes.
How? What? Where?
It got dropped from a dragon, I think.
Yeah, I think it was a dragon.
Yeah, Rurik's shoes, and I was like, you better take them. Naveen's gonna start like sniffing them, put them up on a pedestal.
I would.
They're probably moldy by now, so I just thought I'd just do you a favor and sell them.
Man.
Oh, sorry, Naveen. No, I'm sorry. Next time I find a piece of his clothing, I'll send it to you. That wasn't creepy.
I'll
Yeah,
just sniff
at
it.
all. So, I did want to point out there was a couple other small updates that I saw. One of them was just a thing that people had asked, are we going to see more casting spells while jumping? Because there's certain spells you can cast while you jump, like Ride the Lightning, and a few other ones will work while in midair. And they said they're not really focusing on that because
No
they don't
shit.
want to have you be able to use jumping as a way to get an advantage over another player, which I feel is like I get their perspective, but I don't necessarily agree with that because every player can jump.
Yeah, but okay. Look at this. Okay, you're in real life. No, not in real life. You're okay, you're in the fantasy world, okay? And you're an elementalist, okay?
Right.
And you're fighting and stuff. Are you gonna go like, wait a second, I'm gonna jump to throw that fireball? Not really.
What if I could jump over an Asura and throw a fireball on him? Just think of that.
Well, then that would be fair, and no one would be
It,
playing Asuras.
it would be badass. Also, you go through other characters. There's no body blocking, so it doesn't matter. You could jump over a Norn and through their face if you really wanted to.
Yeah,
But
but that's
like,
good because imagine the jumping puzzle problems if we
oh yeah, if there's,
wouldn't be able to.
forget it. It'd be trolls everywhere.
It's like Norn walls everywhere.
I
But
think the point is that, rolling and using that's like limited and finite, and it's quite a well-developed mechanic. If you start using jumping as a mechanic, it hasn't been fine-tuned or anything, so for them it's like gonna just cause more trouble.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, jumping and dropping traps in midair, things like that. Jumping and dropping AoEs.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it'd be cool. It'd be something, nice, but like ArenaNet said, like, it's really not something that they want to focus on. Like, obviously, when the new patch came in, they had so many problems that, they had so much stuff, logging issues and stuff, and then all those whiny little babies came about in Twitter and Facebook going, you guys suck, this game sucks, I'm so glad I don't have to pay monthly, being haters like they are. So, of course they don't have time to focus on, should I make a character jump and cast at the same time? Let's code that shit. No.
I just imagine someone at ArenaNet just like at a meeting at a table and the boss is like, alright everyone, just code that shit. I don't think that's ever been said in the history of man.
Well, it might have been, but yeah. No, and I get it. Like I know, especially certain skill animations would look kind of wonky. Like if you have like one of the ones where you jump, like a leap finish, like a leap move, and you jump and then jump again. Like, would you get vertical movement on that? You know what I mean? So then you could use it to cheat at jumping puzzles, which would be awesome if you have one of those moves. Like one of those, the great sword leaps, like jump up and then jump again.
Yeah.
It's a double jump.
It's like double jump. What game had that?
Lots of games have double
Mario?
jump.
Mario?
Mario. Lots of games have double jump, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, yeah.
No, and the reason actually it kind of struck a chord with me was today. I was playing and I was in the Temple of Grant and I got teleported up. You teleport you up and you fall down. And I teleported up, but I activated my 2 skill with Guardian Hammer as I was getting teleported. So I hit the top of the air and then I jumped forward with my hammer and landed on a ledge up above this priest, so I didn't take any damage because the vertical movement made it so I didn't, like a horizontal movement, I didn't drop at all.
Right.
So then I was like, can I do that every time? Because I'm going to do that all the time now and I'll never take damage. And I can just stay up above where his AoEs can't hit me and just, well, I'm a guardian, so I can't drop AoE on him, but I can look at him.
Interesting.
Try to.
You can look at him.
I can
What?
drop
Wow.
AoEs and then
Lag
cry
was
because I have no ranged.
Like, I can see you from up here. Don't you do that. Don't kill it. I can see you.
But yeah, so that I think kind of wraps it up for the news that we have for this week. Oh, just a little thing that Gail Gray mentioned. Macros are allowed. You can put in macros to a certain extent in Guild Wars 2 if you want to set up your keys, as long as it's a 1-for-1, which is almost defeats the point of a macro, if you ask me.
Yeah.
One for
Like,
one.
if you want to have press the A button and it activates your one skill, that's fine. But if you press the A button and have it activate the one skill like 6 times, that's not okay. And if you press the A skill and then it would activate skills like 1, 2, 3, not okay. So really, they will let you re-key map your skills. You can't actually macro.
The
Not
macro is not allowed.
yeah. I'm pretty sure Galgray doesn't know what a macro is, which is fine.
Hey.
Okay,
She
it's okay
does.
not to know a macro.
I'm just saying, you can't use it to make it click more than once for you. You can't program it to do multiple actions or or perform the same action multiple like in rapid succession. So, whatever. Oh, and I guess if you're in Europe, I guess is where PaySafe card is a thing. Maybe Canada too. I don't know. Australia.
Huh?
No.
Yeah, I think it's like a credit card type thing. I really don't know anything about it, but it's now you can now use it, and you can use that to pay for things in the gem store. It was a recent addition they added. It's like my assumption is it's like a prepaid card.
Wouldn't that be considered like a gem card?
No, I mean like a credit card. Like how you could buy like a Visa prepaid card
Yeah.
as like a gift card. There's, I guess, PaySafe card is something like that, and now that's accepted as a means to purchase things in the gem store.
Oh, okay.
So if you're a country that has that, you can use that now. Also, because of the chat about the Nostromo, Razer just came out with a newer version of the Nostromo. So if you're a Nostromo user, I would check that out because it looks pretty sweet.
I'm a Naga user.
Me too.
No, I'm a Mamba user. Nostromo and Mamba.
Ah,
Mamba.
I see.
Naga all the
Your
way.
light is blue, mine is green.
Man,
I'll
nice.
share.
Oh yeah, see. I said the gear episode will come up. We're really out of stuff to do. We'll like take the cams down and be like, gear setup. Check out my keyboard. Listen. Yeah, keyboard. And here's my mouse.
Yeah, keyboard. I love that.
And
And this is my water bottle that I use.
coffee that I'm drinking from.
I'm using
Here's-
a Tiny Mac keyboard.
Here's my
Oh my god, Rachel!
Oh
Let's be
my god,
friends.
we keyboard sisters! Activate!
Form of? I don't
Here's
know.
my giant Razer Black Widow keyboard.
Okay.
Yeah. Again,
Podcast.
that's later. Another episode.
It was your jazz voice, wasn't it, Naveen? And tonight we're going to do some Guild Wars 2 podcast.
Oh, jeez. I love being sick sometimes.
So, let's discuss the actual content. So, let's start with the living story updates.
I just want to point out that I have no clue what's going on, so I'll be the technical person and the commentary. That's all.
All
all I
right.
wanna say.
So first off, it kind of expanded on the living story that happened last month, where we just had to kind of run around and activate. By activate, I mean fix refugee signposts and light campfires and
And go through their dead bodies and find mementos. That was pretty gross.
yeah, a little bit morbid. And then if you were keeping up to date with the NPCs in Holbrack and Black Citadel, you'd see that the refugee camp was growing. New NPCs would show up. Sometimes they were rat infested, the area, and things had just kind of gotten bigger. And more recently, we only heard like talks of Dredge and talks of Flame Legion, and now the newer stuff we know that they're working together. So they've actually expanded on that quite a bit. I'm not sure of the exact area in Diessa Plateau. I don't know because I've mostly done things in the Norn area, but in like the northeast corner of Wayfarer Foothills, 3 portals will spawn that look very similar to the red portals from Diablo that you spawn to, like if the town portals were red.
They're actually the Flame Legion portals. You know that big meta event? They're exactly the same texture.
Oh, it looks like the Eye of Sauron.
Yeah, there's 3 of them though, and like where the Flame Legion one that Kaysee was talking about is much bigger. There are like 3 smaller ones, and there's like a little camp there, and they spawn out of it and they attack it, and your job is to kill them and defend the homestead. And as long as you stay in there, um, there's like a little cap bar like there is in World versus World when you're capturing like a zone or capturing a sentry point.
Right.
And when that fills up all the way, then the event ends. And that's actually one of the titles is killing invaders, which is killing Dredge or Flame Legion in either zone. So that's some of the stuff, and you'll get to see them fighting. And there's not much beyond that other than the NPCs talking. Like I said, one of them was saying like, I don't know, I see Flame Legion using weird shiny weapons that hurt your head when they use it. So sonic weapons. And I'd never seen the Dredge use fire before. Things like that.
That's interesting that you can get a title out of it.
Yeah, it's for killing, I think, 100 and... I'm sorry, it's not a title, actually. It's just an achievement.
Oh, okay. I thought it was another title that they added to, like, how,
The volunteer one.
Yeah, volunteer, yeah, thanks.
It's in the same area, and it maxes out, I think, at 5 tiers, which is 150 invaders killed.
Okay.
And the other one that is out there is, it's like a scavenger hunt, where you're trying to find lost... I forget what they call them, relics or mementos kind of a thing, that are spread out somewhere between Wayfarer Foothills and DS Plateau. And spoiler alert, I guess, it's a goblet in Wayfarer Foothills and a wooden toy soldier in DS Plateau. And it's it's a snow-covered object or a dirt-covered object, depending on where it is. But it's different per server, and I believe it changes where it is per day.
Huh.
So, like, you need to go search around, like, anywhere in the zone to go find this object. And thank you, Eduardo, for pointing out my next point. If you don't want to look for it, Dolphy has a pretty comprehensive guide of most of the places where it's been located.
Already? Shucks, dude.
For pretty much all servers.
I hope she gets paid for that. Seriously, because she puts in like massive amount of work in her stuff. Ow.
And I mean, to give credit where credit's due, it's not all her. I mean, she compiles it all for sure. But people do go, hey, Dolphy, I found on Blackgate, found the snow-covered object was here today.
Yeah.
And then she'll upload that to her thing. But she does do a lot of the work on her own.
Yeah.
But she does take submissions, so if you guys find something or find something contradictory to what she has on her site, send her an email, post it as a comment, so she can update that to help other players out, because that's how we all work together as a community to help figure this stuff out. So yeah, you can check her stuff out. There's 2 relics that can be found right now that we're aware of. There's 6 total relics, but there was a lot of talk of a sword that people found, and apparently people found a sword in Wayfarer Foothills at one point, but then the patch came, one of the patch after the initial update, and that like removed it.
Oh, huh.
So people are like, oh, it's a sword, but you have to take the relics to someone in Lion's Arch, and there's a little camp in the Port Master or something, in the bottom kind of, or the north or southeastern corner on the beach by the waterfall. There's a little refugee camp that has some Norn, some Char, and some Grawl there. And there's a Norn NPC and a little Char Cub NPC that you give the 2 items to. Yes, thanks, Jal, near the mini pet arena. And there's the Grawl, which is what made me think that that's the 3rd item, because there's a Grawl chieftain that you can talk to, and he gives you dialogue. Oh, and again, for those of you that don't know, the Consortium is the one who sponsored and paid for this little refugee camp. And they want to take all the refugees, and relocate them to South Sun Cove.
What
is their ultimate.
Them?
And that's why we're all a little not so sure about the Consortium. They're kind of sketchy, especially after the whole Arca incident.
Yeah.
and they're trying to turn South Sun Cove into like a resort area. You know, that's where they're trying to bring more people there. So that's why I'm sure they want to relocate them, the refugees, to there. But the Grawl is one of the most interesting NPCs. He says, you know, the consortium put this. I mean, it's in Grawl language, so I'm paraphrasing here, but that like the consortium make all these promises, but there's like sneaky smiles behind their eyes, and we don't trust any of the food that they've given us, so we haven't eaten anything since we've been here.
Wow.
Wow.
So I think that the Grawl item is going to be food. You're going to find like Grawl food, like that they like they're one of their favorite meals, and that's what you're going to give to the game. That's my personal thought. There's a lot of speculation out there about other people talk to NPCs and are like, oh, this person said this. Maybe we're going to have to find one of these. So, pretty cool stuff, though. Obviously, from the look on Naveen and Kaysee's face from having not played it, that they're pretty excited. So
And it's
Yeah.
just, there's a lot of things that come into my mind when it comes to the consortium and how, they're so suspicious, dude.
and I mean, there's 2 more updates for Flame and Frost. So I wouldn't be surprised if this was all some grand scheme of ArenaNet to get us to go back to South Sun Cove. That's where it ends, is like the big final battle. So we all have to go back there.
I
But
really hope that South Sun Cove turns into a resort. I think it would be awesome, like just have like a beachy area and like tourists and little Cocoa Boon Banner bars and I don't know. I just think that would be awesome.
there's actually, I know this again from Delphi's coverage of guild missions, which we'll talk about shortly. One of the bounties, one of the NPCs that you're trying to track down is in South Sun Cove. So there's a potential that you will have to go there, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. I'm trying to see. I don't see it. Originally on, I think on Dolphy's website, there was a lot of when she was covering the Lost and Found piece, which is that's the other thing that you can complete for the Living Story. It's called Lost and Found, which, like I said, is a total of 6, for 3 tiers, 6 total items returned to their prospective owners. No title associated with that either, but that's the other thing that you can do. And if for those of you that haven't done the volunteer, you can still get that. It's still an option. But I feel like once all 4 updates are through and gone, all these achievements and things are going to go away. So, oh, okay, here's a quote in relation to this. Sorry, I just found it. From an ArenaNet dev. Initially, you will see 2 refugees. When further phases of the event unlock and the refugee area in Lion's Arch grows in size, you will find new people to talk to who may also be missing items. So right now, stop going crazy looking for items 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. They're not there yet. Here, this is, and for some speculators out there, such as myself, there's one person. One talks about a homestead, a Doliak homestead, where we found the first. Another about a caravan, and there's 2 people in the Black Citadel that talk about stuff. So there might be, there's a lot of people speculating about what we think the other items are going to be. But again, at this point, just don't even worry about it because it's not in the game. But cool stuff, worth checking out, worth talking to the people. The consortium is a little, I don't know how I feel about them yet. If I was Yvonne Nashblade, runner of the Black Line Trading Post, I would just run over to that creepy little Asura over there and just be like, I'm like 3 times your size, I'm a char, I'm just going to eat you.
No.
I'm taking the refugees over here and they can stay in Lion's Arch. The great free city of Lion's Arch.
Wow.
Don't send them on some suicide mission to South Sun Cove where they can clean up the carca for you. But anyway.
That's really interesting.
Oh yeah. So let's talk guild missions as the next big thing. Oh, good call, Jal. I mentioned that to Kaysee yesterday. I showed her the whole new area and structure that was added in Wayfarer Foothills. Kaysee, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I was we were playing together. He's like, did you see that structure over there? I'm like, what? He's like, behind you. I'm like, and then I turned around, my camera around, like, what? But that wasn't there before. When did that come?
But I forget it was because something. Oh, you looked at the Kratekin actually because there's preview now in the trading post, and you're like, what? And I was like, oh, was that for the Kratekin? And you're like, yeah. And I was like, oh, did you see that over there? And you're like, what? For those of you that don't know, it's just a little bit north of Doliak Pass, I think. Waypoint, I think it's called. It's in the northeastern portion of Wayfarer Foothills. A new structure with big wooden doors has been added, and it kind of, see if I can get some profile here. It kind of goes like this. Like, I guess it's more like up like this. It's a structure that goes back quite a ways, but you can't gain access to it. So that's a whole new area that will presumably be there forevermore, and those of us that have played from the beginning will be like, I remember when that wasn't there in the first place. The whole world has changed, and like new players won't know the difference.
Yeah.
Jelenar says you can see it from Deceiver Plateau. That's amazing.
See, this is big things are happening, people. So we can, I mean, we all joked about to say like, oh, we were there in the beta, and we played in the Hunger Royale, and we turned into Kralkatorix minions and killed our best friends. But
Yay!
this is legit.
I survived that.
Did you?
Yeah, with an Avery. First one. We were survivors.
Yeah.
I was survived.
There was so many. I wish I'd survived that. I'm still. You know what it was? I think I turned around because people ran ahead, and I was like, Naveen? She just left me. Her and Avery just bolted and left me to die.
There was so much going on, though. It's like hundreds of players in the same map, you know? Just going around and... the good times of beta testing. Oh, well.
So, let's jump on to the guild missions, which is a pretty massive update to just guilds in general with still, not some of the things we're asking for, like, decent guild UI so we can organize by tiers.
Ooh. I have something to say.
Casey's waving her arms frantically.
Monkey Kaysee over here. Yeah, what's up?
No, I'll get there eventually. I read this interview with Colin Johansson, I can't remember where it's from, but someone asked him about the UI for guilds, and they said they're actually working on that. Like, I don't know if it was like, we're working on that, or they actually are working on it, but they want to implement the whole last time they've been on and make UI better for guilds. So
yes, please.
they think about it.
Yes.
I've been. Yeah.
No, it actually was, and I remember that because I mentioned it to Naveen a few days ago. If she remembers, is another story.
2 days ago, my mind.
All right. It was in the 4-part series Dragon Season Luncheon with Colin Johansson. It's all posted. All the important stuff is posted on guildwars2guru.com. If you haven't had a chance to read it, I would check it out. A lot of cool information, a lot of stuff we've kind of already discussed because now that the content's out, but a lot of stuff we haven't discussed, and little things here and there, like Kaysee mentioned, they're working on the guild UI. Go ahead.
Just to mention, Guildmag also had an opportunity to have lunch with Colin Johansson, and I'll just post a link to the interview and what things that he said, and we also talked about it on the Dynamically Spoken podcast. But one of the questions, I got to ask him a question. I was so happy. I asked him how does he keep his goatee so perfectly manicured, and he answered.
I saw that actually.
What was his answer?
His answer was, it's not. Oh, he didn't actually answer the question quite at the way, but sometimes his goatee isn't perfectly manicured as it appears in the promos. It all depends on the amount of sword swinging the night before.
Oh, sword swinging! What? Johansson being innuendoing.
Actually, I don't think he was actually being innuendoing.
No, I know.
I don't think so.
It's just us.
It does make me laugh because he's the guy that made the comment about like, we didn't want our game to be like, oh, I swung a sword again.
Hey,
It's
I
just
swung a sword again.
Yeah. So anyway, back to what I was talking about, guild missions. Um, so it's very influence heavy. So if you're in a smaller guild, I would I don't know what to tell you. It's going to take a while, basically. Arena did post an article about like if you're worried about it, here's some steps to take to possibly help you, get enough influence to participate in guild missions. Some of the advice, like in my mind, I think was shouldn't have been presented as lightly as it was because I saw a lot of uh, people taking a lot of offense to it, as it were. Again, it's the whiny babies of Guild Wars. But like one of the suggested things was combine with a larger guild, and that's something I feel like should have been like a last ditch kind of a thing. Like if you possibly can't find any other way, why not see about integrating your guild into a larger guild? But a lot of people are like, I can't believe this. They're making me say I have to join another guild, and blah. You know how they are.
hmm
But I
Mm.
get it. I mean, it makes sense. Like, well, you shouldn't have to join another guild just to experience the content. But then again, you don't have to experience the content in the first place.
yeah. The thing is, though, that at the beginning of Guild Wars 2, like even before the game came out, they made this manifesto and all the videos and stuff, and they said this game is meant for you to play with other people. It's meant to, create guilds and stuff. And of course, like you can casually play alone on your own, do your personal story and all, but it's really focused on guild stuff. Finally, must we say? But that's what their primary thing was about, to play with friends and in massive groups. Um,
Mm.
so it's just too bad because not everyone know that and not everyone have seen the videos. But there are people that like MMOs as they are, and they just want to play with their like 5, 10, 15 people guilds, and that's about it. But with 5, 10, and 15 people guilds, you won't gather thousands of influence every single day,
Hmm.
So that's gonna be hard for the little guilds. Like Eduardo from Mexico said in the chat room, he said guild missions hurt my guild really bad. We're back at 2 men. All the people I got thanks to you left me to go to bigger guilds.
Well,
So
Mm.
Eduardo, there's always space for you right here, buddy. You come on right over if you feel
You
like it.
okay?
Chronicles. Yes, in my heart, Kaysee,
and your chest.
because we love our listeners. But no, if you know, not to encourage anybody to leave any of their guilds. Do whatever you see fit. But if you think the Chronicles of Tyria might be a fit for you, um, let us know.
Yeah, except the application thread is closed.
I said let us
Yeah,
know,
whoops.
as in the three of us.
Okay.
You know,
I don't know.
maybe you'll get in if we like you. Eduardo could get in.
Apparently, lag makes exceptions.
Lag makes all sorts of exceptions. No.
I think I think it's one of those things that you're damned if you do, if you're damned if you don't. If they make it so that you don't have to do any influence and it's not hard to get to achieve the tiers, people will be like, oh, there's no end game, there's no progression, you know, there's no bonus. But if you make it so that you only need one person in a guild to be able to do the guild missions, it'd just be pointless. I mean, people would just make their own guilds and do their own guild missions. The point is that the guild missions need at least 15 people, so you need to at least have 15 people in your guild to accumulate that influence.
Yeah, that and if people want to join, they need to be on the same server to participate in these guild missions. So,
Mm.
we're on Tarnished Coast, okay, one of the most populated server on the North American servers. Um, it cost 1,800 gems to transfer, so have your money slash gold ready.
It's like
Mhm.
645 gold. I think we calculated it out this morning.
It's crazy. It's
We were
crazy.
talking to Valiant actually in the guild about joining Tarnished Coast.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think 45 gold. Tully did the calculation, something
Yeah.
like that. Maybe it was 65. I don't even remember.
Last time
But
we transferred someone, it was 40 gold.
yeah,
Now see how it. Wow. So 1,800 gems is like 25, $30 or something. Because 20
Yeah.
bucks is like 1,600.
Yeah, it's like $18.
I don't know. Oh,
18 real life dollars, US dollars ish.
I don't know.
We'll just say 20, and then you have a couple
Anyways, it's
extra to
expensive.
buy a black knight. But yeah. So anyway, they added guild missions, long roundabout back to our actual point. Um, which to access them, a lot of you needed to have pretty much to access all of them. Which it's going to take you, if you had enough influence and everything at the right time, 9 weeks before you're ever going to actually get access to all of them. If you have enough to start.
Huh.
If you don't want to burn through 75,000 to 50,000 influence to speed it up 25%. But anyway, so the first one you can get is guild bounties, which if you watch the video we mentioned last week, you'll see is basically, it's like I mentioned, as close as you're going to get to the wanted mission of Guild Wars 1. There's 3 tiers. You have access to all 3 tiers to start, but the higher tier you go, the less amount of time you have, and the more NPCs you have to find. So I believe, let me just pull up trusty Dolphy information. Here we go. Yes, so to start for a guild bounty, if I totally looked at the wrong thing. Here we go. Right. So tier 1, you have to hunt down 2 NPCs. Tier 2 is 3. Tier 3 is 6. Now, there are 3. You get different rewards. For tier 1, it's 15 guild merits. Tier 2 is 20. Tier 3 is 25 guild merits. There's a weekly cap on the number of merits you can earn from a specific type of guild mission. So for guild bounties, the maximum you can earn is 25 guild merits. So if you do a tier 3 and you complete it, you earn 25 guild merits. You can't earn any more merits for that week from that type of guild mission. The other, you can earn merits from all of the types of guild missions if you do all of them in a week, but you have to have a certain number of merits to buy new types of guild missions, if that makes sense.
Ugh, my brain.
I'm going to take care of all of it, don't worry.
Okay.
I already started working out the numbers with Tully this morning. We're working on how fast we can possibly get it.
Oh, okay.
If that's okay with you.
Yeah, sure. Like, I am mentally out of order, so
Okay.
I don't care.
So basically, you need to have research level 6, I think, of economy unlocked, which costs like 30,000 influence, takes a week to build, and then you need to then you can unlock guild treks, which is that where you all go. That was the cool thing in the video where everybody was like quaggins or chickens.
Oh,
That one.
I want to be a chicken.
Right. That is the next one, and that's what we're shooting for to unlock next. You need to have 30 merits to do it, so we need to do 2 full weeks of guild bounties before we can unlock it, so on and so forth. And I won't go into everything because we'll be here forever.
It's gonna take forever.
It's going to take several weeks. And
Wow.
Unfortunately, the last one that you unlock is puzzles.
So they
So they
really
jump
want people to play for a long time, eh? They didn't, oh, Jesus almighty, eh? It's gonna
Well,
take,
the thing of it is, now you have daily things you do. You have monthly things you do. And with these guild missions, which, again, I want to point out that because I'm kind of taking some initiative to get this going for us, you also, if you're in the guild participating, you also get guild commendations, like Zenshu pointed out in the chat, which then you can use to turn in for special rewards only if you're in the guild participating.
oh.
Which you can, 12 guild commendation is an ascended piece of accessory gear, so like what normally would be like an earring type gear, it's an ascended piece for that. You can trade it in for a tonic that turns you, a transformation tonic that turns you into like a COT guild banner, like an everlasting COT guild banner.
Wow.
So you can go troll around as like a little little banner for COT.
Because that's super
awesome.
useful.
It's good for trolling people in World versus World. stand up on the power, and now you look like COT. Rep COT.
Yeah.
I forget. There's tonics that turn you into other like different colored golems. I think. Jump
Anyways.
off. Yeah, there you go. You could jump off, and you could do where you normally turn into a princess doll. You could all suicide as banners of COT.
Shh. Don't let them know.
We'll see. They'll have to come around to find out.
Eduardo said, well, people complain about not having long-term goals. Yeah, that's true.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
the casual player will feel overwhelmed. Like, massively overwhelmed. I am feeling overwhelmed. I hop in game, especially this week where I had like tons of stuff in real life, and so plus I was sick. Like I didn't want to come online and play, and I was like, f this, f that, doesn't matter. I come online and I'm here going like, this is a whole new game. What the hell is going on? Like I opened my G window. What is my G window? Like not my hero window, but the other one. No, that's the
Guild
guild.
panel.
No, it's H. Hero. Okay. No, guild pattern. You're right. Don't listen to me. And then all these things they added, and then I'm like, holy cow! Like there's so much for me to do, and I was just focusing on my map completion, which is like sort of like on the sidewalk now that there's all these things, and it's like, I don't have time to do all these things, but I wish I could. And, I don't have like 70 hours per week to give to COT. Not to COT, but to Guild Wars 2, because I already give 70 hours to COT.
No, I mean, I pulled up a list of stuff you can get with the guild merits, so I'll just go through some of the more popular ones. There's miniature red, blue, and green siege golems for 25 merits. The class gearboxes that you could get from Laurels, where it's like 2 Laurels and you get like a random piece of gear suited to your profession. You can get those. You can get a lot of banners, like droppable banners, like 3 guild experience banners, 3 gathering banners, 3 magic find banners, things like that. And then you can actually get 3 of the newer kinds of banners that they've added that you can access, like Heroes banner, which I think is like swiftness, magic find, experience, karma, and gathering all in one banner for a half an hour. There's gathering and swiftness, gold and magic find, gold from monster kills, and karma and experience. These are all combined banners that you can get all for 2 guild accommodations. There's ascended guild backpacks, or I'm not ascended, sorry, exotic guild backpacks are 5, and an extended accessory is 12. So lots of cool things that you can get if you're in the guild participating. You can still get personal rewards if you participate in another guild's mission, which is like, it'll be a couple of items, and I think it's some silver or maybe gold. So cool stuff out there has been added. And the guild missions are a long-term goal, like everybody's kind of saying. And we're planning on doing it, and because people are saying, we're talking about, participation in events and things like that, events that we do in the guild, these are things that can only be done, some of these, once a week, because of the game restriction on you being able to do it.
Right.
And everybody gets rewards out of it. The guild gets rewards, you get personal rewards. I don't know if there's a much better way to get people to come out than like, hey, free stuff if you come play with us.
Yeah.
So, I think that this would be a pretty good way if we find a day, say, maybe that works for everybody, and we do this as like a guild thing in the future. Like, okay, better set aside 5 hours. We got 5 guild missions to do this week. We got to do bounties and then treks and puzzles, and this is like months down the road when we actually have all of that unlocked.
Yeah,
But
we'll see about that. I got some snow to
Unenthusiastic
shovel.
Naveen is unenthusiastic.
Yeah.
I know, really. Whatever.
I'm excited, Lag. Let's do this. Let's
Thank
kick
you,
some
Kaysee.
bounty butt.
Thank you, Kaysee. Thank you, everybody in the chat who's also excited.
I'm just gonna be the negative Nancy of episode 37.
Sometimes you need that kind of perspective. Let's
We'll
move
always
on.
love you.
Let's move on to gem store items. Addition of hair color and eye color, aka Anne's Rejoice.
And that's just if you buy that, because if you create a new character, you don't have access to these new colors.
Nope.
Ah, they're spending our money. That's it.
I'd like to point out that there is a chance, again, it's still spending money, but there is a chance to get those things out of a Black Lion chest. If you're using, looking for Black Lion chests or whatever else, you can get the hair kits and this makeover kits out of those. But yes, they did confirm that those colors will stay around forever in the kits, though, so they won't go away. It's not like just a springtime thing. It's eye colors. It's all pastel-y, pinky, purple, blues.
That's amazing for, I was gonna say Suras, Sylvari.
Depends on, I guess, like the kind of, if you look at the background on our little thing, like I have little leaves, so the leaves change color. So it's not huge for me, but for other, yeah, I get it. But the fact that you could have a human with like pink hair is not like a thing, or like the pink and purple eyes
Yo,
for a
I'm
human.
mainstream. Don't look at me. I'm socially awkward. Yeah. Whatever.
I mean, I haven't seen any Char. I did think about making like big burly black and white striped Char with like pink hair. Like, I think that'd be funny. I mean,
And if only they would have pink hair. The colors that they added are really like weird. If anyone reads Azalea, my story, I've been begging for like a pink, like a proper deep pink color. Not gonna have pink on Sylvari, even though a character in the personal story has the exact color hair I want. Apparently, we cannot have it in character creation.
Nope.
yeah.
I'm angry.
Okay.
When I read that in the patch notes without actually reading it, I like freaked out because I was like, oh my god, they added more face options for Sylvari and Asura, and it was not what happened, and I was sad.
I wish.
Char backpack? What do you guys think? Cute? Pointless?
Yes. When I saw the Char backpack, I was like, yes! Yes! Okay, I love the Quaggan, but it was way too cute. Like, my character, no way. I would buy the Char backpack, especially because I remember you today in guild chat linking the tiger skin that you can add on the Char backpack. Oh my god, it looks so cool. It doesn't look like, look at me, I'm going in a flower garden. I'm having such a good time. It's just, it's a little bit fierce for a backpack, so I'm cool.
The tiger one is accessible. The only way to get it other than buying it from the trading post is to get it as a kind of a random drop from a Black Lion chest. They also added pink Quaggan backpacks in the Black Lion chest. So it looks like the blue Quaggan, except it's pink and has the red bow.
And it has a little heart on its feet.
Oh, okay, I didn't notice that.
Who's that cat?
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
And you can also, those are also up for sale on the trading post as well. The regular Char backpack you can just get from the gem store. I believe that's it for new gem store items. Let's see. What else do we have? Okay, choose your own dailies.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of this. I think this is great. It's basically, if you haven't played, when you open up your daily tab, there's 10 different options with little check marks. And when you check, the first 5 will pop up in that little kind of top right-hand corner where your dailies are. And you can complete any 5 out of the 10, and that will get you your daily. If you complete more than that, you will still get the achievement points, and you'll also get a pretty decent... I got a decent amount of experience on a level 80 character. So I can only imagine on a lower level character it'll be even more. So You don't have to do all 10, but if you do, it's a good way to get a little bit of extra experience. Are you okay over there, Naveen?
Oh, I'm laughing, but it's so horrible. Oh, Eduardo, why you must do that? Um, in the in the chat room, he said the quaggan backpacks are made from dead baby quaggins. Actually, have footage of Canadian hunters killing quaggins. First off, Canadians don't kill stuff, and we're too nice. But when you click on the link, it's just, one of those pictures where someone is like clubbing a seal, basically. But instead of it being a seal, it's a quaggin. Let's go club some quaggins.
Yeah. So,
Oh.
what do you guys, Kaysee? I don't know, Naveen. I don't know if you have, but Kaysee, you've used to pick your own dailies. You think it? I think it was a good move.
Yeah, 100% good move because I just don't enjoy some of the stuff. Like I can't. Personal story. Like I'm only gonna do personal story when I feel like doing personal story. That's just the way it is. So, like, I hate if that's something that I have to do, I'd feel very resentful about it. But I really like the fact that you can choose your own, and it also allows flexibility. Because if I'm out playing, and I say, okay, I'm going to do these dailies that I've done for today, but then all of a sudden I'm playing with someone, and I realize I already done my 2 group events. I don't have to do another one on the list. It's very flexible for whatever you're doing at the moment. It's also flexible for people who do world versus world because world versus world people who don't want to do, I don't know, a story one or a PvE centric daily, they can just go and do the kill so many world versus world invaders. So I really like that. The only complaint I've heard about it so far is the fact that once it's 100%, it doesn't go away.
Yeah.
So, but that's something they can easily fix.
You mean in the UI?
Yeah, at the side it just says like I don't know if
5
you've
out of
rolled
5.
20 times, if you've evaded 25, it goes 100% and just stays there as orange.
People are
You
complaining
maybe
about
if you
that.
uncheck all of them, maybe they go away.
If you uncheck it, it goes away. So, but it's only once you finished it, it doesn't go away.
Okay.
Jolinar says to make it go away, just go back in the daily section and uncheck the boxes.
Yeah. Trading post preview.
I love it.
I didn't test it.
What?
I didn't test it.
I went and tested all the legendaries. I'm like, ooh, look at it, so pretty. It's very cool.
Yeah, it's you can preview the item being wielded, which isn't really necessarily the truth because it's only held in one hand and you can't always see the particle effect. You can see some, but you can't see like really all the particle effects, but enough for something like the Kraken, which now Jal and Kaysee are both like, oh my god, that's such a cool trident. We should get that instead of the Bifrost. But because you never would have known, and I'm a little sad. As I was telling Kaysee yesterday, I had the precursor for that at one point, but I sold it because nobody knew what it looked like and nobody wanted it. So whatever. I got it from the Karka event, but anyway. And you can preview just the weapon itself, and that's not just in the trading post. Those 3 functions are previewing anything, but now that you can preview things in the trading post, makes buying armor so much easier. When you're like, because if you want to use a low level armor, but you want to see what it looks like because it looks cooler.
Yeah.
Now you're not just like, well, let me buy this outlaw coat and see what it looks like.
Yeah.
And it looks awful. So, good update. Sad that it took this long to get.
Yeah, I'm really glad it's finally in because it's really annoying. Like you're buying something and then you get it and then you see the look of it and it looks atrocious. You're like, what did I just spend on my money on?
Yeah.
And you can also it helps you select goals to move forward. Like, what kind of staff do I want? And you go and look at the saves and you preview them and you choose which one you want. Okay, that's my goal, and it really helps a lot.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. It's a good call. A few adjustments to the laurels. They added ascended accessories to the laurel list, but they cost 40 laurels plus 50 ectoplasms to get. which I
Quit
feel
the
is
game. I quit the game. I just quit it.
it's easier if you do guild missions. You can get them faster. So
It's easier if I
another
quit the
reason.
game.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you're a quitter, I guess that's a good way to go about it.
We'll miss you, Naveen. Don't go.
Of course, I'm not quitting the game. You guys just want me to quit the game.
The probably my absolute favorite update so far, loot and chest upgrades. The loot tables are improved. Everything drops better loot than it used to. And the big one, any world boss, that means the 3 dragons, Shadow Behemoth, Fire Elemental, Frozen Maw, all the temples in Ore, the Mega Destroyer in Mount Maelstrom, they all drop a chest when they're defeated. That chest is now guaranteed to drop at least 1 rare, and sometimes up to 3 or 4 I've seen. And it's only openable once per day per character. So if you have multiple 80s, you can go do that event multiple times per day and get at least 1 rare for each time you open it.
So does the dragon appear once a day, or is it just the chest?
If you're playing on Naveen and you go and beat the dragon and get the chest,
Huh.
you're guaranteed to get. Joel says it's not a guarantee, but I've never seen anybody not get it. I've seen people say they didn't get it and then realize that they had it in their inventory and forget. It must be Sable.
I've got one every time.
Too. Well, these guys don't know what they're talking about. I don't believe Joel and Sable. They don't know. Anyway, I'm saying it's guaranteed, but they're saying it's a high percentage.
If you believe it's guaranteed, it'll happen.
Exactly. But if you were to then go and try to complete the same dragon again within the same day, the chest would not appear. It just wouldn't show up. You still get participation in the event, but the chest would not show up. But, so that adds pretty much another thing to do in the daily list of, of things to do. So, if you have multiple level 80 characters, you could try to run around and do all of those events on all of the characters, and get multiple rares. I'll tell you one thing, it's led me to do events that I've never done before. I just did the Fire Elemental for the first time yesterday, I think. Never done
I
it.
can't believe you didn't do that one.
I spent no time in Metrica Province. Just like I'd never done the Maw because I spent no time in the Norn zones, because I was there for map completion, and I did exactly what I needed to do, and then I was out. I didn't stay around to play events. So it's definitely fun. It makes you want to go back to low level areas and places you've never been or hardly ever been, because there's a chance of that coming up. That Shadow Behemoth is confirmed to drop Final Rest finally after all these 6 months of trying to find it. It finally drops. So
a lot of people are saying that it wasn't. They think that it wasn't in the game before. It was a certain bug, and they finally went, "Oh shit," and fixed it. Oh sorry. Oh sugar, and fixed it, and now it's finally dropping.
Kaysee, it's okay. Well, it's after
okay
10 p.m.
Yeah,
We've had some.
after dark.
Yeah, we've had some pretty bad episodes, so I think you can get away with that one time.
Yes. So I think they finally put it in just for the first time now, because tons of people do the Shadow Behemoth all the time, and the fact that the Final Rest hasn't dropped one time, a bit iffy.
I mean, I've done probably in the past 2 days since the update, I've probably done all the world bosses that drop the chest. I've probably done at least 15. And I've always got at least 1 rare, if not 2 or 3. And I agree with Lovegood in the chat. Shadow Behemoth was bugged. Remember, we talked about if it was part of the story, why he just wasn't there.
Yeah.
But it was bugged for 3 months, so there's no way you could get it anyway because you couldn't play it.
I was deceived.
And trying to find it on a reliable timer is insane. I saw it today when I was at work, and I ran over to try to get it, and my game logged me out, and by the time I logged back in, I couldn't get there. So I watched it die. I was sad. But I got the
Yeah, there's
achievement,
some.
though, for killing 3 portals within 20 seconds, even though I never was there.
There's some really bad elements of the Guild Wars community coming out from this, which is what's one of the things they're doing is putting the timer, like resetting the timer wrong, so that people come and turn up and it's not, the Shadow Behemoth event isn't going on, or those sort of things.
Yeah, there was a guy that admitted in the chat to being a troll and actively, and I saw the timer change, go in and completely reset the Shadow Behemoth timer so that people would show up when it was actually going to be there, so he would be one of the only ones to increase, in his mind, his chance at getting Final Rest and getting money. So, yeah.
Bah humbug.
Uh-huh.
And there's also been a problem that I know where you and I were concerned about was the guesting. Lots of people are guesting onto our server, Tarnished Coast, and then we get pushed into overflow, which was a bit. Yeah, like Frostgorge Sound. I think yesterday was the first time I went into Frostgorge Sound overflow.
Wow.
Like it's just one of those areas that I just never get to push into overflow. But when a dragon came up, we were pushed into overflow.
So people are switching servers just to get the chest?
They're switching a server because there's so many
guesting
people.
servers.
Yeah, they're guesting to our
Yeah,
server because there's so many people here that play and enjoy the PvE aspect of it that they can kill the dragon. I killed the Claw Jormag in 10 minutes. Like, he was down, went to phase 2, and he was dead before the golems could even spawn to walk the bombs down because the amount of people that are playing.
There must be massive culling going on.
And that's what
there
Joe
is.
pointed out. It is like launched, only like 10 times worse. Like, anytime there's a world event, there is culling like you wouldn't believe. There's hundreds of people at each, like, you could go probably, like, Tequatl was up and down already. I bet you if you went there, there's probably a group of, like, 15 people there with boxes of fun and banners having a party. That's how it is. Every dragon has, like, a party, people just hanging out.
Wow.
Yeah, and the lag about the skill lag is coming back again. I haven't experienced that since the Kaka event, like Joel said. And you just, like, you press it and you're like, oh, please, can I see a number? And it was like, half health, please, can I see a number? And then you see a number, you're like, okay, I got participation, that's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever happens from here is fine.
That's what Kaysee and I were saying. It's like, did you get your numbers? Okay, and you can back off. As long as you see that white number pop up that's like, it did damage, you're like, okay.
Don't care if I get bronze.
As long as I get the chest.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
There's nothing worse than turning up and trying to do it and, like, spending all your time through lag, and then it's like, oh, did you participate? I didn't see you participate. No medal for you.
Yeah.
yeah, so Kaysee and I were talking, and I thought a little bit more about it today, and it would be good if the game if they could find a way to prioritize home players to get pushed into the home server before guested players, into the overflow, because, like, people are coming and pushing us into overflows, and, like, it's our server. Like, we should get prime choice on the main server, and the guests should get pushed to overflow. If you're in a party with people, then they can join you, like, you right-click and join, but, like, guests should get pushed to the overflows in priority over home players, in my mind.
That's a lot of more coding for them.
I agree
enjoy
that
reading it.
I agree that it's probably lowest of the low on the totem pole. But on things like this, where Blackgate's coming and pushing us to overflows, and I'm like, you're beating us at World versus World. Why don't you get your guys to stop playing World versus World and actually come do your own PvE? Stop, like, coming and kicking us out of our own servers.
Can't we all get along?
No, I don't want to get along. No, sorry,
Exactly.
We're the negative Nancy's now. Jeez.
So I'd like to point out the battles. A lot of the battles in AC, which I haven't experienced myself, but in AC and a lot of other, just even like veterans and champions, like their mechanics and their AI and things like that are boosted, so they're a lot more difficult to fight, and the experiences are more unique. I was playing against one of the veteran. It's a veteran or champion abomination in like the north part of Kershore, and it curled up into a ball like a hedgehog and rolled over everybody and just downed anybody in its path. And I'd never seen it do that before.
Wow.
Mm.
And
And
like,
one of the sorry.
oh, go ahead.
One of the champions I saw did a stomping attack, like a charging attack, which was really new. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so it's the Karka move. Thank you, Joel. Exactly. I'd never seen it done by a risen abomination before. Let me rephrase what I said. Yes, the Karka roll done by an abomination, but they tweaked a lot of the stuff to make things different, and the challenges and the fights more unique. Like I said, I haven't played AC, but Kaysee, you did.
Yeah, there's a whole guide on the Egg Baron, which goes through all the changes in AC, and I'm just gonna like briefly summarize from this, and I'll put it into chat. But basically, there's a whole. What they've said in the changes to Ascalon Catacombs are improve the skill on cave troll boss, additional ghostly allies now during Cola. Is his name Cola? Yeah, it's Cola. Removed breeders from spawns during Hodgins' search for First Scepter. Rebalance the Graveling dungeon army to make them more interesting and fun to fight. Revamp Ghost Eater to include death as traps. Revamp Colossus Rumblest fight to include new skills and abilities. Revamp Howling King encounter to make changes to his army, adjusted the health of dungeon creatures and bosses. Basically, the whole guide he goes through and just outlines what changes. One thing it says is people always ask him, is it harder or is it easier? He says that it's not harder or easier, it's just different. And you remember how hard AC was before we learned how to do it. Yeah. Well, now it's changed again, so it makes it a bit harder before we learn what we need to do. One of the big things that I noticed was Cola summons two people, so if you pull him away from his little people at the top of his plateau, he just summons two more. So like basically it's kind of defeated the whole taking him away from his allies, and it really does make the fight hard, especially if he summons a necromancer or something like that. But it just means that people need to evaluate their thought process and remember to target necromancers or a particular type of enemy or ranger before they kill Cola. And another thing that changed is skin textures. I'm pretty sure the Ghost Eater, his texture might have changed a little bit. What else was there? The Cave Troll is really hard now. Like he's not just spank and tank anymore. He does this pounding the ground attack, and he sends out 3
waves.
Thank you. 3 waves, and it basically downs you. Like it takes about 50 to 80% of your health, and then he also has this which downs you. Then he also has a throwing attack which stuns you, and then he also has something else which stuns you or fears you. So he has fear, chain, fear, knockdown, and stun, which makes it really frustrating because you just want to get one single move off. Like, forget doing meteor shower because he's going to stun you, fear you, or knock you over before you even get the move finished. So it's very, very frustrating, but it's an interesting fight. You really have to be on your toes. And apart from that, there's no breeders in the the final cave area where the Howling King is and the Colossus Rumblest is. They've taken out the breeders from there, so it's just boss.
Oh, that's cool.
There were a couple of other interesting updates that if you hadn't played them, you might not have noticed. I can tell you were very annoying. Excuse me. Sorrow's Embrace and Citadel of Flame, and also Crucible of Eternity. If you were doing any of those dungeons, especially Sorrow's Embrace, where there's you can fall off into the lava when you're doing the story mode, and there's the iron, whatever the hell the thing is. You pull the chains and you drop the molten lava on it.
Yeah.
They added safety nets, so if you fall off into the lava, you don't just die and nobody can res you.
Oh, thank God.
because you would die, and with their updates to res rushing, just res back and run back. Iron Forgeman, thank you, Wardo. You would fall and just die, and because everybody else is in combat, anybody that fell in the lava just sits there dead and has to wait for the whole thing to end. So they added safety nets that kind of like teleport you back if you die in the lava, so people can run back and res you.
Huh.
They did things in a couple of that. There was the one branch you could jump on in Twilight Arbor so that you couldn't get hit and just AoE the boss. That's gone, so you can't deal with that anymore.
Wow.
They did a lot of updates to pretty much all of those, in my mind, no offense, useless wooden potatoes videos about utility skills. They're all pretty much, like everything he said, depleted power crystals now have a 50-second or have a 40-second recharge. So that's useless. Ash Legion and Order of Whisper spy kits are on a 60-second cooldown, which used to make the Dredge Fractal the most easiest thing, because it just give you 10 seconds of stealth if you stood still. So you just run up and stand on the buttons that switches and just go stealth, and just keep re-stealthing by double-clicking. So you would just go right through it invisible, and you didn't have to worry about getting hurt at all. Apparently, for a while, the Ranger gearboxes you would buy with Laurels were dropping rifles. But they fixed that. And they increased the exotic drop rate in the gearboxes now from Laurels. They used to drop more rares, so they fixed that. Let's see. They changed some of the skills, the profession-based skills. Nothing. I didn't read too much into it, but I think now there's more buffs for engineers when they're using their kits. Now are better at taking the stats off of their weapons. I know one of the big things is Mesmers now can't teleport if there's something. Use a portal if there's something physically blocking the path. So like you can't portal through a wall basically anymore.
Oh.
So I think stuff that still happens in like Eternal Battlegrounds, where you come up, if you're far enough apart, you can still portal, but you can't like portal through multiple walls. Yes, Ride the Lightning has a longer recharge, which is a little sad. I know. It seems like Necros always have a full list of updates they make to them every time. Naveen's looking at her watch. I don't know that there's no watch there, so I'm not going to believe that.
Just looking at a freckle.
Yeah.
That's a nice freckle.
It is. No, I'm just thinking, with over an hour and a half of show, I think it's, Can I go to bed, is all I'm saying.
Man. You've grown old in these past few podcasts. We used to do 3-hour shows.
Aw, she's sick.
No,
I know she's sick. I know. I'm just joking around.
No, ban him.
The only other thing that I want to point out is something that Tully pointed out in the chat too. Air elementals are just creepy now.
No, they look awesome. They're like the mini
Creepy.
carcas with their tail
Creepy.
and then like.
Creepy.
They're not creepy.
Creepy.
They're
Creepy.
not as
Creepy.
stupid as Kaysee. Stop.
I do declare that I am the official on creepy. No creepy.
You wanna go to your timeout corner? I'm gonna put you in your timeout corner.
She doth declare that it is creepy. Oh, the boxes of fun. I don't know if anybody's seen the new boxes of fun.
I'll give it
Have
crap.
the 3 new dances added into them. If you do that,
No?
Yeah, I had a look at them. They're really cool dances. I like what's the side shuffle or the dodge?
yeah, they're like named. It's the inventory shuffle, I think is what it's called. They all have funny names, but you can basically choose to spawn different kinds of box of funs. One that does transformations, one that has like the dance, and it replaces your 7, 8, and 9 skill with dance moves.
It's a whole
Pretty
new
specific
game, man.
I know. Well, I was excited last night when we were waiting an hour and a half for the Shadow Behemoth that never showed up.
You guys are crazy.
Dent was there with us hanging out, and he ran up in front of me and was jumping up and down and typing Ted, petrify. Got the thing. and Kaysee didn't know what it was, and then I realized she wasn't there.
Oh,
And
yeah.
had no idea what my character's name was based on. Just didn't know where it came from.
Oh,
She wasn't part of the COT Classic.
well.
Wow.
Number 2.
I'm here now. I mean, you guys had to suffer without me for so long. I couldn't put
know.
you through any of that.
I know.
That's right.
So
Should have been piano.
I think that covers just about everything.
Thank you.
Well, it's not like I'm going to be able to tell you. Oh, one last thing. They removed the orange cross swords in World versus World when people are fighting, unless there's 25 people or more in the combat.
Oh, cool.
So if it's like, if you send somebody out to like, hey, go scout over there and see if there's people, and he hits one person, big glaring cross swords aren't like, hey, there's somebody over there, let's go kill him. So Zerg rolls over one person, so it has to be 25 people or more before the orange cross swords show up. So, Yes, Tully points out that our COT raids would never be noticed. All like 10 of us. Tully, I have a commander icon. I could do it.
Good luck. Have fun. Good game. I'm out. Ciao.
Yes, and Eduardo, just like Freelancer wanted. But anyway, thank you everyone who came out and viewed our podcast for us. We greatly appreciate it. This is episode number 37. Gonna wrap it up. So, any questions or anything like that? Hosts, that's plural, at chroniclesoftyria.com. All right, so for episode number 37, I am Lagwyn.
And I'm Kaysee.
And I'm Negative Nancy Naveen.
And we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.